bolster. So let's start on the bolster. We'll do a variation of supported fish that I call Stairway to Heaven because it's lovely. So if you have blocks, you can put one block the low way and one block the medium way. So low, medium. Not enough contrast. There we go. If you need more or less height, you can always adjust it, but we're looking for this angle. Once you find the angle, you'll slide your bum right up against the edge of the bolster. If you don't have a bolster and you're using a pillow or something else, you might need to add something to make it firmer, like a towel rolled on top in a log shape. Once you are ready, you'll lean your body back. Now, once you find your shape, you might need something underneath your elbows if they're staying off the ground. If they're lifted, you can put blocks underneath them. Or towels if you have towels. Now you're welcome to do one of many things with your feet. There are lots of options there. Some folks like to extend the legs. Some folks like to bring the feet together and let the knees drop out. It can also be nice just to have the soles of the feet on the floor. Now once you come into the shape, whatever it ends up looking like in your body, take a couple of deep breaths to be wherever you are. You might notice the rhythm of your breathing or sounds from outside. I have become acutely aware, if you guys can hear that knocking sound, that's a woodpecker. As you're here, try to slow your breathing down. We're using this pose as an opportunity to land in practice today. So before we link breath and movement, before we move in any way, let your mind and body coalesce around stillness. Let your breath come in. And then you'll let your breath go out. Let your mind settle to whatever it was that got you to your mat this morning, a sense of purpose or a desire to be with your body or mind in a certain way. Breathe in and breathe out. Now you're welcome to be with this reclining position as long as your body is appreciating it, as long as your mind is steady and happy here. When it's time to move, bring the soles of your feet to the ground. Start to let the knees drop from side to side. They don't need to drop all the way over, and if you notice that your low back doesn't have a lot of support, you can make sure that your back or spine is supported by the bolster so that it's just the knees moving. All right. When your body feels complete with this gentle knee rocking motion, settle at center and let your right ankle cross over your left thigh in figure 4. So a little bit of hip love this morning. And depending on what your body needs, you can approach this pose in one of a couple of different ways. So if you're feeling really tight in your outer hips and just getting here is effortful, you might just stay passive in the shape and appreciate the subtle or soft releases. If your body wants movement, you can come back to that rocking sensation from side to side. It will feel different now that the body's in a different shape. If you're someone that's very flexible in your body, hypermobile, or pregnant, you might find some activation that helps stabilize your hips so that they're level from right to left in space. And from here, take a breath in and a breath out and decide if you need any more activation. There's places you can activate, but you can also treat the pose with passivity. It's up to you. And sometimes having a choice is harder. So you close your eyes and let your mind listen to what your body is needing or leading you towards. Observing the emotional energy of that choice. Now for some it can feel really nice to take figure 4 twist. I'll just demonstrate this on the other side because I don't have enough space. You'll potentially drop everything over to the left, allowing the sole of the right foot to come to the floor. If this feels like too much in your low back or it's just not comfortable, you can stay in figure 4, or you can return to neutral early and let your knees knock together. We'll be here for about 3 or 4 breaths. 3 or 4 breaths, maybe longer if it feels good. You're always welcome to stay. when you feel complete here, you'll pass through center, bringing the soles of both feet to the floor. And take a breath in and a breath out. Now you can stay right here or bring your feet towards one another, and as slowly as you can muster, let your knees open. So there's still a sense of activation or a sense of resistance to the knees falling open. Then as you exhale, slowly bring your knees back towards one another. So you can inhale the knees apart. Exhale the knees back towards one another, taking as many cycles of this as feels appropriate. If you want to stay in a certain spot, you can linger. If you're moving slowly, take 2 or 3 more rotations of breath and movement linked together. Inhaling to let the knees gently open. Exhaling to draw together. The next time your knees move up and towards one another, separate your feet to hips with distance, and we'll set up the second side of figure 4. So your left ankle will cross over your right thigh. You can stay, you can rock, or you can find some degree of integration that feels appropriate today. As you're here, reconnect to once more that steady breath pattern of inhaling and exhaling. To balance out our first side, we'll take about 5 more breaths here in the center variation, or the traditional version of figure 4. When you're ready, you'll take it into figure 4 twist, dropping, if you're going there, the left foot over to the right. And again, if that doesn't work, you can stay in figure 4 when it's time, or you can shift the soles of your feet to the floor and let your knees knock together. Let your breath come in, and then your breath go out. Wherever you go, let your breath follow. So if you choose to get up and get a drink, just let that action, even if it's going to the bathroom in the middle of class, let that action have or maintain this tone of mindfulness where you're aware that you're breathing. You're feeling the sensations taking place in your body as they're happening. When you're ready to come back to center, plant the soles of your feet to the ground. Here, we'll move the feet together again. And for the next 10 to 15 breaths, let the knees open slowly as you inhale and close slowly as you exhale. So we're finding some engagement or resistance along the inner groin muscles. And perhaps also becoming aware of the tension between the inner groin and the outer hips, or the relationship between those two places. When you feel complete, linger in the bottom with the knees out to the side, or the top, walking the feet out a little bit so the knees can knock together. And give yourself a few breaths, pause in one of those two places just to observe once more the steady passing of breath. When you feel complete, if your knees are out, guide them back up towards the ceiling first. You can take a hold of your thighs with your hands or take your hands to the floor, press down, and lift yourself up. We'll be transitioning towards table, but you'll need to clean off your mat first. So take your bolster and set it to the side, somewhere out of the way. And you can slide your blocks off your mat as well. Now, if your knees need cushion to come into table, you can use a blanket or a towel. And if your wrists are tender, you can be on fists if that works for you. Or you can take blocks underneath your forearms. We'll take a cat-cow to start to move through the spine. So on your inhale, you'll arch the belly down towards the floor. And on your exhale, you'll round your back up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, arching. And breathing out, rounding. Excuse me. Give yourself a few more rotations of arching and rounding. One more time for good measure. Inhale and exhale. And this time, at the bottom of your exhale, shift your hips back for child's pose. If you need to slide blocks out of the way, that's okay. If you need to take your knees a little wider, that's good too. You can be perfectly still or walk your hands over to the left, stretching through the right side line by letting the hips shift slightly to the right as the hands walk over to the left. A breath in and a breath out. Pass through center, come up to table, hands and knees. Now, you'll extend your left leg back behind you. Let's add a little more height. With the left toes turned down so that they can tap the ground to help you keep your hips level. Before your left foot lifts, try to reach your right arm forward. And you can do this on a flat palm, a fist, or an elbow on blocks. If it feels okay, lift your left leg. And breathe in. And breathe out. One more breath in. And with your exhale, you might tap the right hand down first, but slide the left foot out to the left so that it comes in line with the right knee. You'll pause for a moment with what I call janky table because it's got a funky leg. Take a breath in. With an exhale, you'll thread your right arm towards your left foot. So there are a few different ways to play here or explore. You can press through the top of your back, or the back of your right hand down into the ground to help you stabilize. You could wrap your left arm behind your back. If you like to flirt with balance, and some folks do, you can pick the left foot up off the ground. If that doesn't feel good on your shoulder, or just doesn't feel like a fun thing to do right now, don't bother. Let your breath come in. And your breath go out. One more inhale. And exhale. When it's time to come out, you'll press into your left hand to free the right. Put the right hand right in line with the right knee. And again, you can be on a fist. If it's working better to be on blocks, totally fine. You'll root through the right arm or forearm and slide the left foot behind the right knee so that you can open into side plank variation. So the left arm will come up. Maybe if you're feeling feisty, you'll float the left leg up, but it's not required. Take a breath in and a breath out. Let your neck do whatever is comfortable. I've been hearing a lot of crunchy necks in classes lately. If you need to look down to keep your neck happy, do. If it feels better to keep your neck so that the chin is at the center line of your chest, you can do that as well. Take a breath in and a breath out. One more inhale. Whew. With your exhale, see if you can press through your right foot to help you come up to stand on the right foot and the right knee and the left foot. Well, you might need extra cushion underneath your knee. That's okay. You can change it up. The left leg is extended out. Take a moment to swivel and wiggle your hips so that they're level. So you might notice when you first come into this that your left hip tries to lift up. Bring it down in line with your right. But in the process or practice of getting the hips level, you can take the hips in a circle. Yeah. We'll set up a side body stretch here. So you can keep your left hand on your hip. Reach the right arm straight up. Breathe in. And with your exhale, lean over to the left. If you notice that your torso starts to turn to the left, pause, come back to center and try to let your chest point forward, but your right arm reach overhead towards your left. Take a breath in and a breath out. We'll come back through center for a moment's pause. Inhale. Here we'll do it slightly differently. Turn your left toes up towards the ceiling so your left heel is rooted down. This time, and again, if your right knee is being cranky or you need more cushion, less cushion, make an adjustment, no problem. You'll take the right arm high, mindful not to let the left knee lock. So if you're feeling it press down towards the ground, you can even bend it a little bit, but we'll lean up and over this time, and you might feel a slightly different sensation along the inner leg line. Breathe in and breathe out. One more inhale. And with your exhale, you'll come back up, set your right hand or forearm down on the blocks or on the floor. You'll bring your left hand to the floor and guide your left knee down. Beginning the process of setting up the second side, you'll send your left leg back. It should be your right leg that goes back, but your right arm stays rooted down so that your left arm can go forward in a moment. So your hips are level. Once you find it, you'll take your left arm forward. Whew. Take a breath in. Maybe the right leg lifts, maybe not. You get to choose here. Let your breath come and go with its steady, slow pace. Breath comes in. Breath goes out. Cool. One more inhale. With your exhale, bring the left hand down first. Then you'll slide your right foot over in line with the left knee. I'll turn sideways so that I can do this with you. So the right leg comes out in line with the left knee. And from here, take a breath in. With your exhale, you'll thread your left arm under for threaded needle on the second side with the right leg extended out. Same options are available, so maybe you stay here. Maybe your right arm wraps behind your back. Maybe you play with balancing the right foot. Maybe that sounds nutter butter. It's okay for something to sound like a bad plan. You can skip it. Or you can explore it and see if your initial assessment was off. Let your breath come in and out. Sometimes the body surprises us. And what doesn't seem possible suddenly is. You're welcome to stay here. It's a nice place to be. When you're ready to come out, you'll press through your right hand to come up. Connect your left hand to whatever bit of support you can use, whether that's blocks or your fist. With your right hand down, slide your right foot behind the line of your left knee. Pause, then reach the right arm high. So side plank variation on the second side. Breathe in and breathe out. Yeah, and if you played with balance on the other side, you're welcome to lift the right leg. That can be very strengthening on the outer hip. If it feels nice to just be here and get a stretch on the outside line of the leg or hip, that's cool too. 3 breaths. Steady and full. 2. And if your foot is lifted on your last exhale, set it down. Hug up through your side body and come up to stand on the left knee and the right foot. And again, take care to make your left knee happy and your hips level. And breathe in and breathe out. You want your right foot to be grounded for this first round. Level the right hip off in line with the left and take the left arm straight up. And take a breath in here. And with your exhale, you'll simply lean the left arm overhead. And if your chest starts to turn, bring it back. Your right hand can be on your hip, maybe your right elbow. Breathe in and breathe out. We'll take 3 more breaths. On an inhale, you'll come back to center. Pause for a moment. Turn your right toes up. And yeah, you might have heard my knee crack pretty loudly just now. My knee will almost immediately kick down, and I know that this is a common occurrence for folks. So soften or lightly bend it so that you can almost press through the right heel and hug towards your left knee. We'll do this one more time. Take the left arm up, breathe in, and then lean. Keeping the right toes flexed, take a breath in and a breath out. One more inhale. And with your exhale, this time come up. Bring the left hand or forearm down, then the right hand. Your right knee will come down beside the left, and we'll come back through a round of cat-cows. So, arching and rounding. As you inhale, your spine arches. As you exhale, your body rounds. Twice more, inhaling and exhaling. With this exhale, as you hollow in, stand up on your knees. Try to float your feet, and if that doesn't work, you can take a blanket and fold it up a second time and double it over so that your knees have extra cushion so that your feet can lift. A little bit of play. So on an inhale, you'll sweep your arms up. On your exhale, hinge from your hip creases and slowly fold from your hips, keeping your feet lifted until you come down and feel like you can't go any farther. Maybe your hands can reach back. Maybe your hands come into a cactus shape. On an inhale, you'll sweep up. On an exhale, come on down. Nice and slow. Okay. One last time, inhale your way up. Exhale and fold. If you're looking for an extra bit of effort, you can reach the arms forward or keep the hands close to center. This time as you come up, you'll curl your toes under behind you. Take your arms up and overhead. Now you have a couple of options here. You can stay and bring your hands towards your hips. Gently encourage your hips forward. We're taking camel. Now if you have a deeper back bend or you have the space to, you can put blocks by your feet and reach your hands back for your blocks. If that doesn't seem accessible or successful right now, don't bother. But do tuck your toes under just because it will give your feet a little bit of a stretch. Let your hips come forward, your thighs hug in, and your chest lift up. Take a breath in and a breath out. Awesome. One more inhale. Well, this time as you exhale, keep your toes tucked under, but find blocks or something between your heels so that you can sit back without it being excruciating. So it's toes pose, but we're supporting it. Okay. Sitting up tall, let your breath come in and your breath go out. And when toes pose starts to feel like too much, just untuck your feet and let the tops of the feet rest down. We'll take some gentle neck stretching here since I have been hearing a lot of requests for neck stuff. Breathe in and out. First things first, try to set your shoulders back. And the top of your head, you want to have the sense that it's reaching up so that your spine is long. If you notice that you're rounding through your upper back or mid back, first take the rounding out. I'll turn towards you so that you can see the angles for the next bit. Let your breath be steady. We'll take a breath in and a breath out. There we go. All right. You might find it nice to let your hands rest on your thighs. Sometimes it feels nice to let the hands come dropping towards the floor. They might just dangle. Breathe in. And let your right ear move towards your right shoulder. Now as you do this, if you notice your rib cage tries to pull along for the ride, pause, reset. So it's just about the neck. And if it comes to a place that feels like too much too soon, you can use a block or even a rolled up towel to catch your ear so that you can be here with a passive sense of opening. Breathing in and breathing out. To add an extra layer, you might feel inclined to extend your left arm out to the side. Maybe it comes in line with the shoulder, maybe it's lowering down. You might take a few lifts and lowers to find the spot that feels right. Well, sometimes it feels nice to move the hand forward and back.
Cool. Awesome work, man.
Allow your breath to come in and your breath to go out. When you feel complete, let the left hand rest. Bring your right hand to the block or your head and help to guide your head back to center. We'll pause for a moment in neutral so you can rest your hands on your thighs. Noticing any difference from right to left. Reset the uprightness of your spine. Take a breath in. And with an exhale, you'll let your left ear move towards your left shoulder. And again, if the block was useful or a rolled up towel, you can set that between your ear and your shoulder on the second side. As you're here, with your breath's expansion, you might notice more length along the right side of your neck. Maybe your right hand comes down. It might be that you extend your right arm out to the side, experimenting with the height of the arm. Or the relationship between forward and backward. When you feel complete with the right arm, just let it come down. Take a breath in and a breath out. You can use your left hand to remove the block or to help steer your head back to center. Sit up tall once more. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale and exhale. Okay. On an inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. If your palms can touch overhead, let them touch. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. Press the fingertips or palms together, whatever can touch, and use that press to help draw the shoulder blades down. Breathe in And breathe out. If you notice after a moment that your shoulders start to hike towards your ears, gently draw them down. We'll take 5 breaths. It's okay if the elbows bend. Last 3. 2. With an exhale, let your arms open wide and come down. We'll come onto our backs in preparation for final rest. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. If you're on a stack of blocks, move it to the side. If you want to have a bolster handy for Shavasana, grab it. And as you come towards your back, maybe you decide to make a pillow out of your blanket preemptively. You'll set your head down and roll right onto your back. In the spirit of really finding some chill, we'll pause for a moment with the soles of your feet on the ground. Connect to your breath first. And from the breath, the movement will follow. You'll bring your right knee into your chest. Maybe you just hug in and observe the way that your inhale takes the knee slightly forward and the exhale hugs the knee in. Maybe you have the space to move your knee in a circle. If you're circling out your knee, let your right knee come towards your right armpit for a moment, and we'll pause, finding half happy baby. You can take the sole of your right foot skyward. If that feels like plenty, stay here. If it would feel supportive, you can extend the left leg straight down, but really press down through the left heel to help keep your pelvis anchored or stable from right to left. One of the nice things about half happy baby in this way is that it's actually also upside down lizard lunge. So you can stay here and feel this sense of opening across your pelvis, but with a little less weight bearing than it would be right side up.
Is it Redbird time?
Take a breath in.
Oh, we did it. Okay. I was so stressed out. It's like,
And a breath out.
Redbird time. Okay.
You're welcome to stay here as long as you like. When it feels complete, you'll bring your right knee towards your chest and then let the right knee pass all the way over to the left. Now, I'm right up against the wall, so I have to shift. But you'll bring the right knee over so that you're rolling to the outer side of your left leg. And the right knee, it doesn't have to touch the ground. You could slide your bolster underneath it. And let the right arm open behind you. So spinal twist. You take a breath in. And then a breath out. When you feel complete here, you can use the bent right knee to help transition. Plant the toes on the floor and the heel. Shift your hips back. Guide the sole of the left foot to the floor. If you know you'll want your bolster for the second side, you can preemptively move it. But you'll bring your left knee into your chest once you feel situated. Take a breath in and observe where the leg goes, and a breath out. Observing where the leg goes. And you can keep doing that, focusing on just hugging the knee in, or take a few cycles or circles of the knee, rotating around. Circling for as long as it feels appropriate in your body. If there's a spot to linger in or that feels, let's say, extra interesting, you're welcome to stay. When you're complete, you'll find your half happy baby on the second side. So either holding on behind the knee or the sole of the foot, you can catch your ankle if that works better. And then make the decision, is the right foot staying where it is, or is it gliding forward and anchoring down? I'll move the bolster so you can see it. We'll take a breath in and a breath out. So making the appropriate choice for your body today, even if it's not the biggest or deepest expression of the pose. You might just have the left knee out to the side and the right leg extended. This is fine. Take a breath in and a breath out, allowing yourself to feel what's taking place as you're in the shape. You can stay with this happy baby or upside down lizard as long as you like. When it's time to move, you'll bring your left knee across your body, and maybe you need some extra support from the right leg to help roll onto the outer edge of your right leg. Your left knee could come onto your bolster. Left arm reaches behind you. Let your breath come in and your breath go out. 2 options for Shavasana today. You can stay on your side and bring both hands towards the bolster or towards the lifted knee and come into sideline Shavasana. Or you can roll back to flat on your back, maybe sliding a bolster or something for support underneath your thighs, and finding yourself in a traditional legs out, arms out variation of Shavasana. Let whichever variation you choose really be supportive and easeful. you have the time to linger in Shavasana a little longer, take that time. But if you need to hop off at the hour, we'll start to move towards a comfortable seat. So from your back, if you're flat on your back, first roll to your side, using your feet for support to guide you. If you're already on your side, you can bring your second knee up. And eventually we'll press through the hands and make our way up to seated. Sitting on whatever is convenient and helpful. Let your knees find a comfortable spot, your spine get tall again. Breathe in and breathe out. All right. Inhale your arms up and overhead. This time with your exhale, draw your hands down to center chest. Let your thumbs press against your sternum. Drop your chin to your chest and take a gentle moment of acknowledgement. Acknowledging yourself for coming into practice, for moving through postures, for being with your mind and body through the practice. Call into mind anyone or anything that supported you in being here today. And finally, we'll bow towards the greater community that we share this practice with. Because even though it might just be the few of us on the Zoom or at home doing the video, there's a lineage, a bigger community out there of support. And with the acknowledgement of that, may all beings be peaceful. Thank you all so much for sharing practice.